Thank you, Gayatri. Now, thank you, Leena Gurnath. I'm sorry. Now, Dr. Anand Ramanan, President of Sri Ramanasramam Tiruvannamalai, is going to talk. Welcome, Anand. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Dear friends, brothers, sisters in Sri Bhagavan, I want to wish you all a very happy 142nd Jayanti. We have been witness to excellent performances from all the groups, especially the children. This is a reassuring sign that our Bhagavan's teachings, the Ramana movement, as we call it, is live, alive, and very bright indeed. Friends, the 142nd Jayanti of Sri Bhagavan was celebrated at Sri Ramanasramam on 21st December with great fervor. From early morning, starting around 4, Nadaswaram music was played. Then there were special chantings which are done on that holy Punarvasu day by the dedicated devotees at the shrine. The ashram was beautifully decorated with flowers everywhere. It was truly an occasion to celebrate for all of us, especially as we are trying to dig out from this COVID pandemic. There were an elaborate puja performed at the shrine. There were wonderful songs performed by various devotees, and a festive meal was served to nearly 10,000 people that day. This event, of course, was witnessed by all of you on the YouTube, and around 25,000 people were witnessing the whole function live. Now, friends, the celebration of Jayanti historically started in the year 1912, around 110 years ago. Bhagavan quite naturally opposed it, saying that there's no need for such events, such external shows. But Sri Vasudeva Shastri pleaded with him and said, Bhagavan, it is not for you, it is for us. And so Bhagavan should not celebrate. Bhagavan grudgingly allowed this because he saw that this was a way for the devotees to express their love and devotion, as well as an occasion to strengthen within themselves all that they were continuously learning from him. From the perspective of the devotees, it was a celebration of their own birthday. It is a celebration of their rebirth in Sri Bhagavan to escape the scourges of birth and death and to attain the eternal state. In 1912, Bhagavan, on the pleading of Sri Ishwara Swami, composed 2 poignant verses, again bringing the focus back to the impermanence of the human body, and the only objective of this human birth is to attain self-realization. I'll read those verses. Number 1, you who intend to celebrate the birthday, first ascertain as to whence you were born. The day that we attain a place in the everlasting life, which is beyond the reach of births and deaths, is our real birthday. Number 2, even on these birthdays that occur once a year, we ought to lament that we have got this body and have fallen into this world. Instead, We celebrate the event with a feast. To rejoice over it is like decorating a corpse. Wisdom consists in realizing the self and getting absorbed therein. Now, Major Chadwick waited almost 30 years to compose a rejoinder to Bhagavan's verse composed 1912. And he states, "You tell me not to celebrate the day when I was born. Seeing it led me to thy feet, why therefore should I mourn?" The second verse, "Births in the past were filled with awe, but this one's free from pain. For having thee, I surely know that freedom I will attain." In the same year, the revered Professor G.V. Subramaya, after attending the Jayanti celebrations, composed a farewell poem in Telugu and sent to the ashram. It said, quote, "Like a girl who has spent just 3 days of festival at her parental home and is going to her mother-in-law's place." I apologize to all the mother-in-laws. "Like a lad who has been at play all the time and at the end of the holidays is dragging his steps towards the school, like a soldier who has parted from all his kith and kin and is marching to the battlefield, like a beggar who dreamt that he was a king and wakes up all of a sudden, I have passed 3 days in that perfect bliss of Sri Ramana Jayanti celebration, and now forced, alas, to leave the feet of Bhagavan and go to my place." Further, he writes, that year, Sri Bhagavan's Jayanti, which fell on January 13, 1941, synchronized with the Bogi bonfire festival. And so I went to the ashram again within a few days after the Christmas vacation to attend the Jayanti celebration. On the Jayanti day, I composed Pancharatna, 5 verses in Telugu, saying that the only real Bogi enjoyer in the universe is Sri Bhagavan. And by coinciding with Ramana Jayanti, the Bogi festival achieved full significance. The verses further said, quote, "Make all the past vasanas as straw and the entire pile of karmas as firewood. Kindle them with the fire of Chit, knowledge, and then you have the true bonfire for Bogi Ramana Jayanti." He also narrates an incident on that occasion. A young man whom Sri Bhagavan introduced as the son of his old schoolmate Sri Ranga Iyer recited Ramana Kalyanam, Ramana wedding, composed by himself. Sri Ramana is depicted in it as a bridegroom with jnana, knowledge for his bride. An elaborate description of the marriage is given with all the usual ceremonies and songs adapted for the occasion. Sri Bhagavan followed the whole reading with amused interest, making humorous comments here and there. Turning to me, Sri Bhagavan said, "You punned about Shashtipurti, that is the celebration of the 60th birthday in the Hindu tradition for Swami. What do you say to this? Here is a regular marriage with every detail. Anyhow, people like to drag a Swami into matrimony, whether they call the bride jnana or something else, because that seems to tickle their senses of the ludicrous." I said, "We cannot look upon Bhagavan as a mere sannyasi. In fact, Bhagavan is the biggest grihastha, householder, and the ashram is his everlasting marriage pandal." The poem appears as a sort of revenge by wedlock against Bhagavan for having renounced it. Sri Bhagavan laughed heartily. He informed us that Sri M.V. Ramasamy Iyer also had written a love poem with similar vein, calling it Ramana Shringaram. Bhagavan concluded, quote, whatever people have written their whole selves, they attribute it to Swami. Well, let them please themselves that way. Friends, we also celebrated after the Jayanti, the 100th Jayanti of an exemplary devotee of Sri Bhagavan, Sadhu Om Swamigal. Sri Sadhu Om first came to Bhagavan in 1945 and wrote several hundred songs, some of which have been sung today, all on Sri Bhagavan. He composed a song on Bhagavan for his Jayanti in 1970 called Ramana Jayanti Agaval. This is as follows. I'll just read the first two verses in Tamil. Arunachalame Arulukondu Guru Ramanan Thiru Namam Perak. The meaning is, Arunachala itself with grace took birth as Guru Ramana, who with love destroyed the long time sorrows of those devotees who came to his lotus feet by removing the ignorance of the thickest darkness of hell and showing the incomparable Brahma Shiva state, that is the state of self-realization. He destroyed the thought of Deham, I am the body, that arises due to Chit Jada Granthi, the not connecting the consciousness with the body, through Naham, Neti Neti, and the self-inquiry of Koham, who am I? This arrow, aimed at its target, results in Soham, I am that, of I, of pure Brahman. To explain these concepts and living by example, Guru Ramana graciously rose as the sun of knowledge. A further beautiful song on surrender, which we all chant and it's sung regularly at the shrine, Enna Vendum. And beautifully transliterated, I'm going to read it from the Maharishi issue by Ranjini Ramanan. The English transliteration is, what do I need? Sorry. What do I not need? My Lord is the one who knows better than I. As he is both father and mother to those votaries who need him. After whom else need I, his son, run? If he were to give me whatever I want, would it be proper? Can there be anything better than what Sri Ramana wants? He will give whatever he wishes. Can one who asks wants? Can one who asks be his slave? Can the deed of he who is all-knowing be ever wrong? The happiness of a desireless life, that alone is happiness. The consciousness free of thought, that is greatest happiness. I proclaim that he who gives me the fearless life is my Father alone. On the other hand, whatever given by others is misery. Sri Professor Swaminathan translated this verse from Muruganar on the similar vein. It says, give yourself to God, they say, but is it ours to give, not his already? Now, At least let us repent the theft and at his lotus feet restore what we had stolen. Now, I'll take a moment to recount a wonderful life of Professor Swaminathan's eldest daughter, Mahalakshmi Suryanandan, who recently merged in Sri Bhagavan. Hers was a beautiful life, which started a lifelong devotion at the age of 14 to the only Lord Bhagavan, and continued for the next 82 years at the age of 96. She single-handedly set out to set music to several of Bhagavan's compositions and transliterated and doing the splitting of the complex Tamil verses and setting to music of Sri Muruganar's works, including that of Ramana Sannidhi Murai. Friends, on the Jayanti day, ashram has a tradition of having new books, new compositions released. We continued the same tradition, and this year we released a comprehensive Parayana app, which includes the Tamil Parayana, which already was there, including Sanskrit Parayana from the works and special hymns that we sing on special days. This is on the Android app. The Apple app, iOS, will release soon. Sri Ramana Paravidya Upanishad is a poetic work in Sanskrit consisting of 700 verses composed in the mellifluous Upajati meter. It contains a concise, complete, authentic, and logical exposition of the philosophical background of Bhagavan's teachings and practice. It has been translated to English by Lakshmana Sharma and recently translated to Tamil by KVS Mama of the Ashram. And this was also released for the first time during this Jayanti. These books are available on our Ashram website for a free download. Now, I'm going to step aside and like to inform the devotees of the present day situation of COVID in India. As you know, it continues to drag on, and the Omicron has started going up, and we expect, like everywhere else, it'll go increase, and the ashram could end up having to go through the painful shutdown if possible. And what is worrying is the post-pandemic COVID situation in India. And the ashram would have no choice but to step a little bit away and start doing more charity works, at least for several years, in and around the ashram to relieve the suffering of the poor people. Along these lines, the ashram is going to register a separate non-profit organization so that the original activities of the ashram, as put in the will by Sri Bhagavan, continues without getting any intersections or contamination. So along these lines, I'm very glad to say that the separate entity has been registered in United States to help the ashram in this activity. This is called Sri Ramana Maharishi Heritage. This is a 501c3 registered religious non-profit organization. The purpose is, of course, also to preserve Sri Bhagavan's heritage and to serve devotees drawn to the life and teachings of Sri Bhagavan. The organization will support Sri Ramanasramam social activities. These include expansion of the free medical clinic, which I'm glad to report under Aruna's leadership is continuing to gain strength. The clinic is going to offer more ancillary services, specialty clinics, and camps. We will strengthen the Goshala, the welfare of the poor people in and around the ashram, the welfare of the ashram staff, the devotees, including a hospice care unit one day, retirement facilities for the old ashram volunteers employees. We'll look at several eco-conservation activities, including water conservation, Arunachala Hill conservation, improving the cleanliness of the areas around the ashram, and general social activities, including education and poverty elevation as much as possible. This is a new entity whose objectives are aligned with those of Sri Ramanasramam in India. Sri Ramana Maharishi Heritage will work closely with Arunachala Ashrama to further strengthen support from the USA for Sri Ramanasramam and its activities. Friend, personally, it is exciting for me to announce this, to have both these organizations helping the Sri Ramanasramam, and may their activities increase and they continue to grow from strength to strength. Today, I want to thank Sunita Parshuraman of the Bay Area, who is the president of the Heritage, Dr. Sridhar Bharadwaj of Atlanta, and Siddharth Ramkumar for their volunteering of several hours towards establishing this foundation. And please join me by supporting this organization. Their website is www.srmh.org. Please learn more details. And please order this year's Ashram Calendar 2022 from their website. Finally, I want to thank Arunachala Ashrama for everything that they do, especially conducting this global satsang. But for their effort, we could not have so many satsang centers all over North America. Friends, today I'm in Ahmedabad trying to strengthen and re-establish a Ramana satsang here. And it will be based on the Arunachala Ashram's founding principles. I want to thank all the volunteer devotees who conducted this program. I'll spend another 10 minutes and hold the Pal Puja if I continue to do that. But please let me thank Sri Mohan for his gentle stewardship of this organization and for continuing the stellar leadership after our beloved Dennis. Thank you for your attention and thank you for your time. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Thank you.